Hey guys, and welcome back to Totally Katika. We're outside and I have another guest, but this time we're shaking it up a little bit. I'm going to have the fathers on this time to hear their perspective on their journey. Stay tuned. Hey guys, so I want you to welcome my first male father guest. Again, we're going to have an amazing conversation about, his journey. We got the women perspective. We want the male perspective too, because their perspective is just as important. So thank you for joining me, Mo.
Thank
you
you
just
for having me.
introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you.
Well, my name is Montrial Thomas Sr. I'm from Miami, Florida. I have two boys, Montrial Jr. and Josiah Jr. Both of them last name is being Thomas, and then I have obviously my wife, my queen, Lanice Thomas, who resides from Detroit, Michigan.
Awesome, thank you. And I actually interviewed her too, so so that's awesome. So let's go back to the beginning. Let's talk about when you first found out that she was pregnant. What was that moment like? Now you're going to become a parent. That's going to change your whole life.
Yeah, it did change my whole life. I was super excited first just to know she was pregnant. We didn't know at the time what the actual sex was of the child. We just was happy to know that she was pregnant. God blessed us with the opportunity to be parents, for the first time in our lives. So it was exciting, but it was also kind of scary, because it's one thing for you to see your sisters. I have 5 sisters.
Okay.
So to kind of help out my mom, my sisters, it was kind of like, oh, I could do this, but it's different, totally different when it's your own. So, it was exciting again, but it was also a little bit fearful, not knowing what to expect and hearing all the things that you got to do and all this. But to actually first see it, it was, shocking. That, like to be able to see this being come from your wife, and then now you got a responsible.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
Oh yeah. So that it is amazing when you think about that, right? You're like, man, this is like something we've created, and just like the life that God blessed you with. Wow. What was that pregnancy journey like? Because I know it. You're close with my husband. Y'all are like brothers as well. And just seeing how he reacted, throughout the pregnancy. What was that journey like for you? Just being a part of the pregnancy piece of it.
Like just the pains that my wife was having. Like, what's wrong? Is everything okay? So it's like everything you want to take her to the hospital for, because you want to make sure the baby is okay.
Right.
I mean, obviously you want to. She's most important that she's okay.
Right.
But it's like y'all both share the same interest. Is the baby okay? And not knowing. So some of the things I was kind of comfortable with, because again, seeing my mom go through it, I was there for my sisters. So I kind of knew some of the things, but again, it's different because now it's my wife. Like, this is my queen. Like, something happened to her. Like, what am I gonna do? I had to answer to people. I got to answer her mom. I got to answer to my mom. So it was a lot of pressure that way, but we kind of got through it together. It wasn't so bad once we realized that, the ruler and author of our faith, which is obviously God, like, he didn't bring forth this moment for it not to be. So let's just kind of try to calm down. We excited. We kind of like over anxious. We doing a little bit too much, and maybe you should push back. So that's what it was for me.
That's good. That's interesting. I don't think people ever speak on just that anxiety piece of it, making sure that they're okay, and like you said, having to answer to the parents, right? Like, I've never heard that before, so that's a good point. I never thought about that. Like, what are you gonna tell the parents?
Yeah, because my mother-in-law, she's the nicest pie, but man, when it comes to her daughter and what's going on and how y'all doing, and she's just as much as protective of me, but it's like different now because this is her grandbaby.
Yeah.
So what y'all doing?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all making sure y'all doing it the right way. So that was, it was exciting, but it was also saying, hey, we need to be on top of our game.
Yeah.
Like, this serious.
Yeah. Makes sense. So now let's fast forward. So now here's your newborn, your boy. What was that moment like when you held him?
I mean, like, it's, I mean, if I could explain it, like once, I mean, I got baptized when I was a child, and it was like, okay, I'm doing this, I'm doing the right thing, I'm coming to God. But when I got older, I really realized what baptism was. So it was like when you hearing people saying, oh, having a child, and then he's a male child, your first, man, that's super exciting, this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
But when it happened, it was like, man, God, this is real. Like, you gave me all this responsibility, and I have a male child, not only a male child, a black male child in this society that we living in now. Yeah. So it was scary, because then at the time, I was a police officer.
Yeah.
Growing up in the inner city, I seen a lot. So I'm like, I gotta prepare him for a lot.
That's true. It's a lot of preparation that goes into that, and just being so protective as well. So let's go through the stages, and then we'll get to where you are right now with a young teenage black male, you know, as they get older. So in the early stage of the toddler, so now he's born, and, you know, they're both, you know, toddler stage now. What are some of the things that you did, or let's talk about like what your parents did as far as like raising you or discipline, that you now say, okay, I like that or didn't like that, and I'm doing this with my child instead? Like, what were some of those things, or values, or just anything that they taught you?
Yeah. So like with my mom, my father died when I was fairly young, like 13, 14 years old. When he was living, you know, obviously we didn't live in the same household. My mom was a single parent, so to speak. I knew who my father was. I seen him from time to time, but he wasn't in the household with me, so that was totally different. So now I'm here with my wife. We both parents in the household, so now it's like the values that my mom instilled in me. Obviously, you like, hey, it worked for them, so it's gonna work for me. It didn't work quite that way.
Yeah. No.
Our kids they didn't have to be subjected to go through some of the things that we had to grow up fast, so to speak. We had to kind of like get it. It's like one trial learning. Like, I'm a K9 handler also in South Florida, so you with a dog, it's one trial learning. So it's like, get it right the first time, or you're gonna extend you to pain. You know, so pain gonna teach you how to actually do it the right way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's for us. That don't happen for our kids.
No.
My son, being the first, Montrial Jr., he would literally shut down mentally. Like, you can beat me, you can chastise me, I'm gonna go to school, I'm gonna do it again.
Yeah.
So now what are you gonna do? So I'm like, man, this dude really, I can't tell him this, but he kind of like got the upper hand. Like, he driving me crazy.
And it's true.
So I was like, babe, what do we do at this point? You know, different from what our parents did. Like, but my wife, on the other hand, she had a relationship with her mother that she could communicate with. Yeah. My mom was like, "It's what I say goes. That's it.
Yeah.
There's no having options, opinions. That don't work in this house." Like, so going to my wife's mother, and seeing the relationship and the bond they had, I really embraced it. Like, oh man, this pretty cool. Like, maybe we did this the wrong way. My mom probably, and I think for my mom, she had to, because she was playing both roles.
Yeah.
And then back then, it was a saying that you didn't want to make a boy out of a sissy.
True.
So to be tough on them and create that man that you want to see, it was like not much cuddling, caring, and hugging and embracing. Yeah. You know, so for me, it was like, that's not a thing to do. But my wife taught me a little bit different. Like, hey, baby, it's not working. This stern coming in home, do what I tell you to do. You don't have no opinion. That don't work. So I learned that a kid can have opinion as long as it's structured right, and he have an understanding and it's communication both ways. So.
Yeah, I agree, and I think it's so interesting that you touched on that, because that's something that even David and I kind of talked through. And my mom is not necessarily the mushy, let's hug, you know, she was the provider. She's like, if you need, I was never in need of anything. If you want something, I got you. But my grandmother, she cared about the things that she did. So even for my daughter, I'm loving, like, I have conversations, and I probably, like, I spank her before, but I'm always reasoning with her, and I always figure you have to have conversations with them, right? And I realize even with her, if you come off like I'm the head, I'm the authority, you're gonna listen, like my mom did with certain conversations, like, do this and that's it. Yeah. There's no question, there's no communication. They actually shut down, and that is true. So if you want to get more out of them, one of the things I've also learned is that you have to have that open line of communication. For some kids, it helped with beating them. Like my cousin grew up, they got a whooping a lot. I didn't, because I didn't like getting whooping. Yeah. And it worked for some people, but I don't really think it's truly effective because we haven't really understand or found a root cause of what they're going through or why they're acting that way. And sometimes they're just being kids wanting to test things out. Yeah. But like you said, it's just like, hey, here's what it is, and this is it, and that you're going to learn the hard way. It doesn't work, because for this society, they're like, okay, we're going to do it the hard way first. Right. So it's like you got to change that. So I think that was interesting that you touched on that and just sharing that piece. So when you think about that communication with your son, right, how does that help prepare him for, like, future relationships that he's going to have, even with his friends, and even, down the line with, a female?
Definitely with young ladies. I think for us, we was taught, like, wrong, right, with a lot of things. And it's not necessarily that the intentions of the people who said it to us and spoke certain things into us had bad intentions. It was just that's what they knew. Yeah. It's that was a time, like, men was, you young, get out there and see life, and don't be committed to anything. You too young for that, this, that, and the other. For my son, I teach him different, because I'm like, if God said that when you find a wife, you find a good thing, and he never spoke about having multiple relationships and things of that nature, especially going into the New Testament of the Bible, I try to teach my son, definitely respect women at all costs. Don't lie. My dad taught me that. Never lie. Just tell the truth. If a person don't like you for who you are, just move on, understanding that you have different opinions and it just may not work out. But always be truthful. So that's my best intention, to be truthful, be respectful. Yeah. And right now I'm teaching him to learn how to build relationships on trust, value. Everybody has something to offer, good, bad, or indifferent. You learn from it. That's what life is about, right? So if we stop learning, we stop evolving, it's kind of like we don't exist. You know, so I tell him that, especially as far as relationship building, as a young man, how to come off, how to speak clearly, how to promote your voice, and be somebody that's resourceful, somebody that somebody needs, have something to offer, and it can't just be about the swag that the kids say now. Oh, I got swag. It can't just be about that. You got to have something more than that. So.
It has to be substance. Like they just have to present so much more. And I think it's good that you're teaching him that as well, because sometimes they are not taught those things, how to respect women, how to just be able to have something to bring to the table as well. So I think that's so key. And core values, I think in today's world, sometimes we get so caught up with everything else and the social media world that we lose track of still teaching our kids core values, things that are of substance that they can definitely take and continue to use the rest of their time as well. So thank you for sharing that. My husband in the back just acting really retarded right now. So I think that is really, really great. So when you think about your children, what would be some of the things you would like to see them accomplish in the future?
I definitely want them to be a trailblazer. Oftentimes we blaze other people's trails. I want to see them be able to do different from how we thought. Having our first car was something big and amazing. Now the next step is I want him to actually own real estate. Know about stocks, bonds, trades, have capital gains, things of that nature in his portfolio to be diversified. So don't be kind of like the old saying, don't be a one-trick pony. Kind of have multiple options, streams of income, do things, build an inheritance for his kids. So that's what I'm trying to do for him and my future grandkids, and I want him to be able to do those things on a whole nother level. Obviously, also see the world, travel, be able to be free. Don't stay in a box. My mom obviously our moms taught us, hey, get a secure job, something with benefits, things like that. Not really, we really didn't know about entrepreneurship.
That's true. It was just like, go to school, get a job. Go to school, get a degree, get a job, work there till you retire. That was like kind of the thing you were taught. And it's interesting you said that, because even a couple years ago, just learning, I thought I was doing decent with finance, trying to do different things, because my mom was always like, save. And we have this thing, Jamaicans, we call it a partner, which is kind of like where you save money every so week, and then at the end, 3 months, 6 months, you may get $10,000, depending on how much you do, right? So, but there was no true investment of that. So imagine if you were taught to either take that $10,000 and invest it into a property, take that $10,000 and invest it into the stock market, how you can even double, triple that money, right? We weren't taught that, and that's some of the things I'm teaching, my daughter right now, whereas she has a stock account. She got her stock buy. You got to put money in there. We're buying stock. So by the time she reaches a certain age, you can say, hey, here, this is yours. You don't have to work for someone, and you don't have to do this typical 9 to 5 and that's it. Feel like this is it, right? So I think it's so good that we're teaching them that, to just have that spirit of entrepreneurship and not feel like they're tied down, and they can do just live life, and that's what it's supposed to be about. So thank you for sharing that. And then what are some of the challenges? We kind of touched on that, just to kind of wrap up a little bit. What are the challenges of raising a young black man?
The major challenge is to be able to know who you are. That's number one. If you don't know who you are, you can be tricked or led to believe a lie, something that's probably not true. It's just based on what someone said or what somebody thought you should be or thought was cool. Right. So I want to know who he is as a black male. You're a king. You're great. You have a lot of great things to offer. You're smart. You're intelligent. You're handsome. You're gifted. You're blessed. So use those gifts that God gave you and promote them in a positive manner, so that you could be needed in this world. And if you're a person that can resolve and solve problems, it'll always be a place for you in society.
Absolutely.
So just knowing who you are, and you don't have to be dogged down to what you see, like the atmosphere, right? Because we live for the kingdom of God. So the kingdom of God that exists, we don't belong to this world. So we should be thinking on a whole higher level. So when somebody see you, they see a change, a different light. Like it's something about that young man that I want to be a part of.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And then just to wrap it up, what are some of your fears as a parent?
Losing my kids. I don't want to ever have to bury my kids. Me leaving, part of the process. But to bury my kids, lose my kids, especially to senseless crimes that's happening, senseless violence, just a misunderstanding, or also to like getting pulled over in a traffic stop and doing something because you see somebody else do it, and you respond negatively because you don't feel like they should be stopping you or should be questioning you. But if you understood what my concept to him is always, if you understood they did this to Jesus, right? And you're reciprocal of him, who, like, if you at that point you can't think of yourself bigger than Jesus, right? So you're gonna be subjected to some things. Some people are gonna try you. That's a part of life, going through trials and tribulation. But it's how you respond. To the adversity that's happening in front of you. And then at the end of the day, I always tell them to breathe and think.
Oh, that is a good one. That's a good one. So with that being said, what are a few advice or tips, maybe 3 or 4, that you like to tell the fathers, just parents, or just the kids?
So parents, and especially fathers, don't believe the hype that you're bigger than you, just because you're the parent. Yes, you're the overseer. Especially if you got a wife, you're the overseer. God put us at a part and a head, but be able to be, allow yourself to be pruned, where your kid can tell you certain things, that their likes, their dislikes, and y'all could grow together as a family, because the objective is to be kingdom bound, meaning to grow exponentially in every level, whether it's communication, whether it's emotion, whether it's joining together as a family, getting things done collectively, financially, physically, spiritually, whatever way seems fit. They have something to say, and it's our job to listen.
Absolutely.
As silly as it may sound, they may even teach you something.
Absolutely. I know my daughter's teaching me a whole lot, just right now, and I think that is some great advice, being able to listen. I even remember this morning listening to Erica Campbell on my way, and last week she said a lot of times as parents we want to rule with this authority, and sometimes not even just as parents but just in general, because we are the father, because we're the head, because we're the mother, we are there, that they do have something to say, and there's so much that we can learn from them. So we don't want to actually give them that opportunity to just shut down. We want to give them an opportunity to speak, to shine, to share their light, and for them to be able to let us in, because the worst thing that can happen is they're going to go talk to someone else because you shut them down, because you're in authority. They have just as much say. Respectfully, they have just as much to say. Give them an opportunity to voice their opinion, even if it makes you uncomfortable. You know what's going on with them. Don't give someone else the opportunity to step in and probably lead them astray. So I think that's a good summary. I want to thank you again just for sharing your journey and just what it is like raising kids today, and what your parental journey was. And thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yes. So until next time, guys, don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, and let us know if you would like to be a part or be a man that to share your journey or anything. If this is inspiring you, touching you, or helping you, let us know. So like, comment, subscribe. Until next time, love on yourself, love on those babies. And it's okay to be a little selfish for yourself too, parents.